The clock read 12:47 a.m. when Orm finally unlocked the front door and stepped into the darkened foyer. Her heels clicked softly against the floor as she eased the door shut behind her. The lights were off, but the tension in the air was unmistakable. Ling was waiting in the living room. She sat on the couch, one arm draped over the backrest, her expression unreadable, but her eyes sharp with fury. Orm froze. "You're late," Ling said flatly. Orm kicked off her shoes and tossed her purse onto the table. "It was just a few drinks. No big deal." "You said you'd be back before midnight." Orm shrugged. "Things ran late." "And he was there, wasn't he?" Ling stood, her voice low and tight. "I told you I didn't want you anywhere near him." "You don't get to decide that," Orm snapped, folding her arms. "You're not my owner." Ling's jaw clenched. "You're not allowed to go to any event where there's an ex again, and you sure as hell don't get to come home at this hour." Orm stepped forward, bristling. "Don't tell me what to do." "I will tell you what to do," Ling hissed. "You'll do what I say." "Or what?" Orm's voice cracked with defiance. "You'll lock me in my room?" "I don't need to," Ling said coolly. "You live here. You're mine. Act like it." Orm narrowed her eyes. "I'll do what I want. If you don't like it, maybe you should go satisfy your urges with one of those whores you used to screw." Ling's lips curled, a dangerous smile. "Why would I do that when I have one at home?" The slap echoed in the room. Orm's palm stung, her chest heaving. Ling didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped forward and kissed Orm, hard, punishing. Orm shoved her. "Don't!" She turned and stormed up the stairs, fury and humiliation pulsing in her chest, but Ling followed. Silent, relentless. Halfway up the steps, Ling caught her wrist, spun her around, and kissed her again, ruthless, claiming. And this time, Orm didn't pull away. Orm barely had time to gasp before Ling's hand slid behind her neck and yanked her in again. Her back hit the banister, the wood cool against her bare shoulder blades, and Ling's mouth crushed against hers with a desperate hunger that melted into fury. Orm shoved at her once, weakly, but Ling caught both wrists and pinned them against the railing. "Stop!" Orm breathed, flushed, trembling. "I'm still mad at you." Ling didn't let go. Her lips trailed down Orm's jaw, teeth grazing skin. "You're mad?" she murmured. "Then why are you so wet?" Orm gasped as Ling's thigh pressed up between hers. "I hate you," Orm hissed. "You hate this?" Ling's fingers slipped beneath the hem of her dress, found the soaked fabric of her panties, and pushed it aside. Orm squirmed. "Ling, someone could see." "No one's awake," Ling growled. "Now shut up and take it." With one hand still gripping Orm's wrists, Ling slid 2 fingers inside her, slow but firm. Orm's head tilted back, lips parted in a breathless moan. Her legs wobbled. The banister creaked. Ling didn't stop. She added a 3rd finger, making Orm whimper against her shoulder. "I hate you," Orm repeated, voice cracking. Ling kissed her again, hard and deep, fingers moving faster. "Good," Ling said, lips brushing her ear. "You can hate me all you want, but you're still going to come for me." Orm tried to hold back, but her body betrayed her. Her thighs clenched, her voice broke on a low cry, and she came, shuddering against the staircase, back arching, wrists still held. Ling watched her fall apart, eyes locked on her face. When the last wave passed, Orm sagged against the railing, panting. "You're insane," she muttered. "You like it," Ling said, finally letting her go. Orm leaned into her, shaky and warm. "Maybe." They stood there for a moment, tangled on the stairs, breath mingling. Finally, Orm laughed softly. "My ass is going to be sore tomorrow." Ling grinned. "You should have listened." Orm smacked her arm. "Don't start." Ling kissed her again. "Let's go to bed." Still trembling, Orm nodded. "Yeah, before we break something." They made it to the bedroom, still half-dressed, still laughing softly between lingering kisses. Orm stripped off her wrinkled dress and crawled beneath the sheets, her thighs sore, her hair a tangled halo around her flushed face. Ling joined her, sliding in behind and wrapping an arm around her waist. "Are you smug now?" Orm muttered, not turning around. Ling nuzzled her shoulder. A little. Orm sighed. You can't talk to me like that, you know. You can't provoke me like that, you know, Ling countered, voice low and warm against her skin. Orm rolled onto her back, eyes narrowed. So I deserve to be manhandled on the stairs? Ling's lips twitched. Seemed effective. Orm huffed, but didn't move away when Ling kissed her again. Softer this time, tracing her bottom lip with care. You scared me, Ling whispered. Coming home that late, not knowing if something happened. Orm blinked. You were scared? I didn't like feeling that way. I didn't like the thought of him being near you again. Orm's expression softened. He didn't even speak to me. Ling's fingers brushed her cheek. Doesn't matter. You're mine. You really don't like sharing. Ling leaned in close, lips brushing hers. Never have, never will. Orm kissed her back. I wasn't trying to make you jealous. I know, Ling said, but next time just tell me if you're going to be late. Orm nodded. Fine, but you stop calling me a whore. Ling smirked. You called yourself that first. Still. Ling kissed her shoulder. Fine. A beat of silence. Ling? Mm-hmm. Orm turned toward her, pressing close. I really do like it when you put me in my place. Ling exhaled a laugh. Dangerous thing to admit. I mean it. Ling kissed her temple. Then don't test me next time. Orm's eyes gleamed in the dim light. Where's the fun in that? Ling growled, pulling her close. Brat. Orm smiled. Yours? The next morning, Orm woke up alone in bed. Her body ached in places she hadn't expected, from her thighs to her back to the bruised spot on her shoulder where she'd bumped into the banister. She groaned, stretching carefully, and winced when the movement pulled at sore muscles. Worth it, she muttered under her breath. The scent of fresh coffee drifted through the hallway. Ling must have already gone downstairs. Orm took a quick shower, tugged on a loose sweater and shorts, and padded down the staircase, trying not to think about the very different way she'd used those stairs just hours earlier. The moment she stepped into the living room, she froze. Her mother was seated on the couch with a cup of tea. Her brother lounged beside her, grinning, and across from them sat a man she recognized instantly, Ling's father. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with streaks of gray in his hair and an amused look in his eyes. Orm's heart leapt into her throat. Ling, of course, was standing calmly at the kitchen counter, sipping coffee like nothing was unusual. Oh, Orm, her mother said sweetly, look who dropped by. Orm tried to smile. Mr. Satang? I didn't know you were visiting. I heard, he said with a smirk, eyes twinkling. In more ways than one. Orm blinked. Excuse me? I arrived early this morning, waited in the living room a bit before knocking. Heard a passionate exchange from the staircase. Orm's face turned scarlet. Her brother snorted. Ling's father chuckled. No need to be shy, girl. If Ling's taking care of you like that, I'd say she's making the family proud, in all departments. Orm made a strangled noise and buried her face in her hands. Her mom laughed, delighted. She gets it from your side of the family, Ling. Ling sipped her coffee without flinching. Must be. Orm shot her a look. You let him sit there? While we were... Ling finally smiled. I didn't know he was outside, but I'm not sorry. I hate all of you, Orm mumbled, collapsing into a chair and hiding behind a throw pillow. Brat, Ling murmured, brushing a kiss to her temple. Mr. Satang lifted his cup. To young love. Orm moaned softly into the pillow. I'm never coming out of this room again. Orm tried to disappear into her seat during breakfast, but the amused glances from everyone at the table made it impossible. Ling's dad had stayed for breakfast, and the kitchen was now filled with the scent of congee and fried eggs. Her mom served tea like it was any normal family gathering. Her brother kept smirking at her from across the table. Ling sat beside her, cool as ever, as if her father hadn't just heard her finger his wife on the stairs. I have to say, Mr. Satang began as he stirred his tea, I wasn't sure my Ling would ever settle down. She used to have quite the fan club. Orm lifted her eyes warily. Fan club? Ling glanced sideways. Dad? Oh, you should have seen her in college, he continued, grinning. Girls waiting outside the business school just to get a glimpse of her. Once I picked her up and 3 cheerleaders followed us to the car. Orm's eyebrow twitched. Cheerleaders? Ling's jaw tightened. Dad, didn't you date one of them? Her dad mused aloud. Or was it 2? There was that tall one with the red hair. Dad, Ling said more firmly, placing her chopsticks down. Orm crossed her arms. So how many were there? Ling looked at her, expression unreadable. None that matter, her dad chuckled. You've got a jealous one on your hands. Orm muttered, maybe I just don't like thinking about my wife as the cheer squad's entertainment. Ling reached under the table and squeezed her thigh. Cut it out. Orm pouted. You didn't deny the redhead. Her brother leaned over. Orm, do you remember when you used to say you'd only marry someone with no past? Shut up, Orm snapped, and the table erupted into laughter. Ling's father lifted his tea. Well, past or no, I'm just glad she finally chose someone. Someone? Orm echoed. Ling answered for him. The only one that matters. Orm softened, her cheeks still pink, and looked away. Still, Mr. Satang said, eyes twinkling, that redhead was pretty. Out, Ling ordered, standing and pointing at the door. Everyone laughed again, and even Orm couldn't help but smile as Ling pulled her closer under the table. She didn't say anything, but the way her hand found Ling's, fingers interlocking, thumb stroking gently, said enough. Later that afternoon, the mood around the house shifted. Orm stepped out of the kitchen, intending to ask Ling something, but paused in the hallway when she heard her wife speaking quietly with her father in the den. You haven't told her yet? Mr. Satang asked. Ling's voice was firm. No, and I don't want you to say anything either. But she's your wife, Ling. There was a pause, then Ling said, I know, but it's not time yet. Orm's chest tightened. She backed away before they noticed her and slipped into the guest room, her thoughts racing. Not time for what? By the time she rejoined her mom and brother in the living room, her face was pale. What's wrong now? Her brother asked. Nothing, she said too quickly. I just heard something. Ling and her dad. Something about not telling me something. Her mom frowned. Maybe it's a business thing. Orm shook her head. It didn't sound like that. It sounded serious. Her brother rolled his eyes. You're spiraling again. Maybe I have a right to, Orm snapped. What if it's about me? Ling would tell you if it mattered, her mom said gently. She's never hidden anything from you. Except this, Orm muttered, folding her arms. Her mother and brother exchanged a glance. Come on, her mom said, standing. Let's get some fresh air. You're starting to stew. Reluctantly, Orm followed them outside. The garden had been freshly swept, flower petals scattered over the grass. The setting sun cast a golden glow over everything. Orm stopped short. There was a small white arch at the center of the garden. Candles flickered in glass jars. A soft instrumental version of their wedding song played from a hidden speaker. Ling stood under the arch, dressed in a simple white blouse and black slacks, holding something small in her hands. What is this? Orm whispered. Ling smiled. I've wanted to ask you this for a while, but I was waiting for the right moment. Orm blinked, stunned, as Ling stepped forward and opened the small velvet box. Inside was a delicate ring, not flashy, but elegant. I don't want to spend the rest of my life with you out of duty. I want to spend it with you by choice. So I'm asking again. Orm, will you marry me? For real this time? Tears welled up in Orm's eyes. She threw her arms around Ling's neck. Yes, of course. From behind them, her mother sniffled. My baby's getting married. Again. Again, her brother echoed, pretending to dab at his eyes with a leaf. Ling slid the ring onto Orm's finger. Wedding's tomorrow, she whispered, kissing her. Orm laughed breathlessly. Why am I not surprised? You're mine, Ling said softly. This time, You get to choose." And Orm, eyes shining, nodded. That night, long after the garden had gone dark and the guests had drifted to their rooms, Orm lay in bed staring at the ring on her finger. The soft glint of the band caught the moonlight from the window. Her hand rested on her chest, rising and falling slowly as her thoughts swirled. She wasn't sure how long she'd stared at it. 5 minutes? An hour? Time felt suspended. She heard the door open and close gently. Ling crossed the room quietly and sat beside her on the bed, freshly showered, her hair still damp, dressed in one of Orm's oversized shirts. "You're still awake?" Ling asked, brushing a hand lightly through her hair. Orm nodded. "Just thinking." Ling followed her gaze to the ring. "Cold feet?" she asked, a teasing lilt in her voice. Orm turned to face her. "No. Warm everything. Just overwhelmed." Ling leaned down and kissed her forehead. "Good, you should be. Tomorrow's the rest of our lives." Orm laughed softly, tears threatening again. "I didn't think I'd get to choose this," she whispered. Ling tilted her chin gently. "But you did." Orm hesitated. "That thing with your dad. What is it that you didn't want to tell me?" Ling brushed a strand of hair from her face. "It was about him moving in. He's been thinking of selling his house and staying closer. I didn't want to stress you before the proposal." "Oh." Orm blinked. "That's it?" Ling smirked. "Well, he's also a terrible cook and will probably take over the living room, but yeah." Orm smacked her shoulder lightly. "I almost had a heart attack." Ling leaned closer. "Want me to take your mind off it?" "No," Orm murmured, pulling her into an embrace. "Just hold me." Ling wrapped her arms around her, breathing her in, lips brushing her temple. They lay there like that for a long time. Outside, the moonlight draped the room in silver. Inside, 2 women tangled in each other's arms, hearts synced, bodies still and full of promise. Tomorrow would come. But for tonight, they had each other. And it was enough. At some point, Orm drifted into sleep, safe in Ling's arms, the warmth of her body lulling her into a dreamless slumber. She wasn't sure how long it had been, an hour, maybe more, but she woke to the familiar pressure of weight on her hips. Her eyes fluttered open to find Ling already between her legs, hair cascading down like silk, gaze locked on hers with dark intent. "Ling," Orm whispered, still dazed from sleep. "You didn't think I'd propose to you and not claim my fiancé, did you?" Ling murmured, her voice low, sultry. Orm tried to protest, but her breath caught as Ling rolled her hips forward, their bodies aligning perfectly. Ling's thigh slid between hers, and Orm gasped as she felt the slick warmth of skin on skin. "You were sleeping," Ling said as she pressed closer, dragging their centers together. "You look too pretty not to wake like this." Orm whimpered, arching into her. "You can't even go one night without—" Ling cut her off with a kiss, grinding deeper. "No, I can't." Orm's nails scraped down Ling's back, her body already catching fire. She moaned as Ling rocked into her, rhythm unrelenting, breath hot against her cheek. "I love when you do this," Orm panted, "when you don't even ask." "You don't want me to ask," Ling whispered into her ear. "You love it." Orm's thighs tightened around her. "Yeah, I love it." They came together like that, slow, desperate, greedy. Afterward, as they lay tangled in the sheets, Orm rested her head on Ling's shoulder and whispered, "You're insane." Ling smirked, pressing a kiss to her hair. "And you're mine." Orm didn't argue. The next morning, Orm stirred to the scent of jasmine tea. She blinked groggily and found Ling already dressed, sitting beside her with a tray balanced in her lap, toast, fruit, tea, and a soft smile. "Morning, wife-to-be, last day of being engaged." Orm groaned and pulled the covers over her face. "Too early for that much cheer." Ling tugged the blanket down. "Too early to skip breakfast. You'll need your strength tonight." Orm flushed instantly, sitting up and grabbing a pillow to smack her with. Ling caught it mid-air and laughed. "I hate you," Orm mumbled. "No, you don't." Orm sipped her tea, staring at her. "No," she agreed, "I really don't."